Well, we got the news on one side and Feliz Navidad on the other side, which is kind of weird, but oh, sweet.
Fix it in post.
Okay. Everything's in post. We'll record it in post. All right. Well, it's got to come by. Yeah. Nope. That's fine. You're good, man.
It's all good.
Okay, so just coming out of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker with Mulele, Chris, and Oscar. So who wants to go first?
Oscar should start. He's got the most angry.
The Big Fat Dog Comics on my unbuilt social media empire.
Excellent.
Oh, that's what you want us to do.
Google me.
Matt, do you wanna mention why you've got a napkin over your mouth?
I just got out of dental surgery, so I hope you can pick me up on this.
Yeah, we got you. You sound a little bit like Darth Vader, but it's all right.
Oh.
Shall I do the opening honors?
Yeah, go ahead.
They smooched at the end.
Oh, by the way, this is a spoiler discussion. Yeah, they did smooch at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Were you feeling it? Were you?
Yeah, I was on that ship.
You were on that
Were
ship.
you?
It's like it doesn't. If you think about it, it's. If you, like while watching it, I was like, yeah, and then 2 seconds later, I was like, wow, that's the second most inappropriate Star Wars kiss after the Luke Leia one.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because I was still on my own twin theory that they're twins, and then it turned out not to be twins, but that was still in my mind. And then they kissed. I was like, oh.
Well, they had an unpeculiar bond, right? And that bond is what led them together.
But I'm all for cheap ships in general, but like instant gratification aside, it's kind of a cheap way to cash in on the sexual tension they were building. It's like there was tension here, so we gotta do something.
You guys want some of this?
I'm good at it.
Man, you want some of this?
Oh, yeah.
Zasai.
I might change mine.
Okay. Well, work around the chords and whatnot.
I feel that it is cheap, yes, but it's kind of like what would you do in the moment, right? They don't have proper etiquette lifestyles like we do. So for them, it's kind of like act on your emotions kind of a thing. And in that moment, that's what they felt like doing.
Oh yeah, I do feel if you just see it as like a...
What do you mean?
It's like tension dissipating kind of...
So you're basically saying that they're just animals? They're not cultured like we are?
They're not cultured like we are. They're not like the Jedi Supreme who have been trained to control these kind of emotional outbreaks. They're kids, and therefore that kind of thing would happen in that moment.
Well, I think in episode 1 when they were like, okay, the Jedi are a celibate order. They do not take lovers. I think a lot of people are just kind of like, what? Why though? Mm-hmm. And I think the new generation is like, whatever, man.
Yeah, no, make mistakes of the past, but still kind of like don't forget what happened.
Is this shared, right?
Yeah, it's a share.
Is that not Cha?
That's Cha. Gomo Cha.
Here, I got mini bowls here for you.
Thank you.
You want a mini bowl?
No, I'm good.
Then that's it. Sorry.
By the way, we're recording in a hot location, Osho in Shinjuku.
Still scoop.
If you know, you know.
Get that food. Yeah, that's what I think. They're just uncultured.
Yeah.
That one's
yours.
this.
Okay, so overall for the movie, how do you feel about it? Is that enough for you? Is that enough? Yeah, so
Chris, go ahead.
There's a lot more that I want from the end. However, what they gave me, I feel like, okay, this happened, this is done. Okay, this happened, this is done. Okay, this happened, this was done. But I don't really feel like satisfied from what happened. Does that make sense?
yeah, kind of.
There's a lot of jumping around,
Yeah.
fact finding, item finding, and don't even get me started about that damn triangle. I called it a mile of a damn way once I saw it from Rebels.
Oh, was it in Rebels?
It was in Rebels.
Okay.
At least I'm thinking of the same thing. You'll have to check me out. But in Rebels,
The MacGuffin or?
the MacGuffin, the triangle MacGuffin, yeah. One of the main heroes from there had this kind of space-time continuum like triangle, which led him to like this time. It allowed him to do like time travel and stuff like that. It looked exactly like that. And the moment they held it up, I was like, no, please God, no time travel.
Well, they didn't exactly go back in time.
No.
They need to. I mean, everything from the old Star Wars was there, basically. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I thought it was okay, really. It was better than I expected. Though the first half was really dragging. And
I think it was just like hopping. Hop, 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 hop. One scene,
I
next
just
scene,
felt
next scene,
like
next scene.
it was like you're watching the old movies redirected by a 10-year-old who needs to make like a joke every 2 beats. And it was, I don't use the word cringe lightly, but they made it pretty cringe. Like all the scenes, like C-3PO is annoying, guys. Let's all the whole world like, oh, they look back at him, they're like, movie. And I felt like it was better in the second half, but in the first half, I found myself often counting like the seconds before they would drop like another stinker again. You know.
These are everyone, right?
I'm good, man. Go ahead.
No, these are not bad. Try. Just shrimp, unless you don't dig on shrimp.
I like shrimp. It's okay. You want one of mine?
Yeah, I'll get one.
They make it pink too. It's kind of festive. Yeah, there were a lot of jokes and a lot of like making things light, I suppose. I did enjoy the banter. I think I was kind of more like I was more on the disappointed side for like the conclusive matter of this movie, right?
What do you mean?
There was a giant space battle. I like that. I'm kind of okay with that. But what I wasn't okay with was there was not also this gigantic like lightsaber duel as well.
Yep.
I felt that was really missing in the end. Which, by the way, like the last scene totally looks like they're in a box. It totally looks like they're in a box and they're kind of doing like CG to make it look like they're in this giant council room and this is everything's cool. But the graphics in that scene was a little bit like, I see your 4-dimension box room that you're shooting this in,
I see the green screen basically.
Yeah, I see the green screen, I see the box, and like zooming in on her, zooming in on him. I'm like, it doesn't feel like they're there. It feels like they're somewhere else. That took me out of the movie a little bit.
I'm kind of feeling like this movie is the one that wore me down enough for me to finally enjoy it. Because these movies have been pretty crappy so far. I do not like them in general, but this one was just kind of like, alright, movie, reference everything from the first trilogy. Go ahead, like the Emperor is back, sure. The Death Star is back, sure.
But let me ask you: do you like Star Wars in general?
I like Star Wars, but the problem I had with the first movie as well is just there's just no innovation, and that bothered me in a lot of little details in this movie. Is like all the little details are, it's basically Star Wars fan fiction. You have like the little green screens, like in the Rebel encampment, they have these green computers that they look very outdated by now, but that's the way they used to look in Empire Strikes Back. So they have those, and they have like every space battle. There's a scene where a cockpit gets like an X-wing or whatever gets shot, and then you see the pilot, like you get a shot of the pilot, and it lights up, and then they explode, exactly like in the old movies. And there's just so many references and like the Death Star and the Emperor, and it's just like, give us something new. And the only new things that they do is like, oh, you want something new? Here's a new droid. Like, here's another cute droid. It's like, wow. There's BB-8s. There's this Star Wars, the new game that came out also has like a cute droid.
Jedi?
Yeah, it has like the main character gets a cute droid. There's just cute Star Wars droids everywhere, and I feel like just adding a new one every movie is not gonna. And it's like, well, I'm not buying into the main cast in general, but like the whole Poe. I feel like they kept adding characters that. Why? Like the Poe as the girl. Like I don't even remember their names, but there's like the masked girl.
Oh yeah.
It's like, okay, you gotta. Okay, that was a thing, and then there's the.
Tied to his past.
I don't even know if her name was mentioned, but like the girl who's with Finn at the end.
Oh, the RN.
Like yeah, I was a Stormtrooper 2 girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember her name? That's impressive. Her number, I mean.
I remember her slave name.
I think that was it. Yeah. She didn't mention like her.
No,
she did. She did. She
once,
introduced herself.
She has. We have nothing on her. It's like she was a slave trooper, and now she's not. She does nothing in the rest of the movie. Like they're like, oh, she's gonna be a character, guys, and then what was her part? What was her arc? What was she doing here? And that stuff tires me. Like Masked Girl, her, like all the new stuff is feels like valueless, and all the rest is like recycled. But to kind of balance myself here a little, I guess the movie to me like I said this in the previous, probably not available podcast after the first one. It's not Star Wars anymore for me. It's Disney Wars. It's just I'm watching a fanfic. So personally, I like Kylo Ren. He's trash, but he's my trash kind of. Like his redemption arc. It was like it's not good, but it's what I wanted, and I got it, and that was the most satisfying part in the movie for me.
Yeah, I have to admit, with Kylo Ren, that was very satisfying when he was like, when that kind of scene replayed itself, and it ended the way. I actually wasn't expecting him to like chuck it.
Yeah, that was one of the few times that it felt like this is what the fans want, and just give it, like, because they keep introducing these characters and these things that don't go anywhere. It's like, why are we? That's not what we want, you know. Kylo redemption arc is. But what I wanted to point out, one of my favorite parts in the movie, preceded by one more example of what I didn't like in the recycling, is they destroy another planet. And it's getting stupid at this point. It's like, it's a Star Wars movie. Someone needs to destroy a planet, so they're just like, it's not even a Death Star anymore, guys. We're just gonna, this planet planet explodes. And they, again, the effects are like really like that's not how an exploding planet is supposed to look like, but that's how it used to look like. So I don't know, but I really liked the Emperor like force lightning everything. To me, that was like, because they broke so many rules. Like there's no logic anymore. So I feel like if that's the direction you're taking, you might as well
Just go crazy.
You might as well be like the Emperor's back. He's force lightning everything.
Sorry. At one point, I looked over to my left, and towards the end of the film, and the guy was some guy I don't know, just kind of sniffing real hard, like he was trying to hold back his tears, or like his tears were flowing. But what?
Who's to the left?
Some random guy on my left. But you on my right, I thought I caught you like wiping away a few tears at the redemption of Kylo Ren.
Actually, the part that most got me, what I didn't expect, was like when Leia died, they had a scene of Chewie going like, all my friends are dead, and that was the one where I was really like, damn, he's the only one left.
That made me really
Everyone
sad.
is dead, and he's just there, like he's just like fuck. And that one, but I don't know if I had a tear for Kylo Redemption.
Oh no, he's up there. Yeah.
But I did like the Kylo Redemption.
So wait a minute. So this film got you to that point of emotionality, but you're still like, fuck that film.
Oh yeah, but I don't know. I don't think movies have to do with.
You bastard! You made me cry tears over this cheap MacGuffin nonsense.
My movie tears come rather easily, and
Okay.
and it's been a long week. that didn't help.
So
But,
those are not tears of Star Wars. Those were tears of life.
Those weren't Star Wars earned tears. Most
right.
of them. Though I'll give them the Chewie moment was generally heartfelt.
Chewie moment was really bad. I would get teary at that point. I also got teary during, like, when Ben finally picked up the lightsaber, the blue lightsaber, and it was just like.
It was nice that.
But I was expecting more of a battle from there.
Yeah, the soul sucking was kind of lame, and I don't know. The whole finale was. I mean, I had my fun moments with like force lightning everything, but finale was super lame. It's like, I'm not gonna kill you. One lightsaber. Now I have two lightsabers. So, and now they reflect. Just movie, man. The logic is just. Ugh.
Yeah, if she killed him with her own strength, I guess it would help transfer. But she's using his power up against him.
I know I shouldn't at this point, but I keep having these questions like, why does two lightsabers reflect what one lightsaber could have?
So let me ask you just straight up: is this a yay or a nay for you? Does it slap or does it chap?
I feel like that's a double answer, since I feel the new trilogy in general is a nay for me.
Oh, really?
But within that context, this one is probably the one I like the most out of the three of them.
Okay. Huh. How about you, man? How do you feel?
The new trilogy is a yay for me. I do enjoy watching this trilogy, and I can see myself rewatching it again, like I do with most of my Star Wars movies. Like,
Yeah.
the harder ones are always 1, 2, and 3. That's very hard for me to rewatch, but I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I can see myself watching these again and enjoying it.
Man, Last Jedi, how do you feel about that?
Last Jedi.
Because, I mean, this guy went on a 2-hour rant after the film.
No. I know.
Famous 2-hour rant. They heard you all the way in New York.
Was that the first one?
That was the second one.
Oh.
The last one, the one we saw together.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh.
And is this last one mine?
Yes, that was true. The first time I saw it, I was entertained. I liked it.
Yeah.
But then I started listening to people, and everyone was like, "How pointless is it for this to happen? And this was pointless for this to happen, and this was no point here." It was kind of like, have you ever had those times when you and your friend are both like, let's go to this place. And one friend's like, oh, it would be faster if we go this way. And the other friend's like, no, this way is the fastest way, right? If we just go this way, we'll be fine. And then you have that moment where you're like, well, I'll prove it. I'll beat you to it. And you try to race your friend to get to that, whatever that place is, that restaurant or that whatever location. And maybe you beat them or maybe you don't beat them. But I feel like looking at it is similar to that. There is no point in trying to race your friend to get to a restaurant where you're both trying to go, unless you really enjoy doing it.
I'm not sure I'm on.
Yeah,
I get the
following
metaphor.
your metaphor.
What are we
the
talking
whole
about?
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi as a.
Everyone's major complaint was that Finn breaking off from the story was pointless.
Yeah, and the Luke thing was stupid, right? I personally didn't think so. Most people were like.
I think it was a shot at adventure. I think it was just, this is something that we can try. Let's do it. It didn't work, and they bit the bullet because of it. And I'm saying that's just like trying to like race your friends. Like just like that's something that you do because you enjoy it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But did you have fun trying it, or was it fun in general? I was taken for a ride. I enjoyed what they did with Last Jedi. I know it's not popular. I know it's not logical. And I know that they could have done a lot better for that movie. I get it. I see it now. But I still enjoyed going through the gambling world and them trying to meet the code breaker and then fucking it all up. I don't like Poe being an idiot, but you know what? He learned his lesson. I hope. Because in this movie he was a bit more responsible about his actions.
Well, he's a general, and then in the middle of the battle, it's like, oh, sorry, I fucked up. And that was like, wait a minute, what? Now?
Wrong timing for that.
Yeah.
I still don't like any of the main characters because I feel like they lack. I think the part in this movie makes me to like Kylo Ren so much is because I think it's been said somewhere before that most of them the main characters have stuff done to them. They're on the run, they're being chased, they're always reacting, and I feel a charismatic character, they do things, you know. Like the old cast of Star Wars, they'd fuck up, but they'd fuck up and they'd do things. And I guess Poe did that in The Last Jedi. In this movie, again, no one really did anything, and the only one who ever does stuff is Kylo, you know? He's the only one who's like, I'm gonna do this, and then it doesn't work, and he's angry, and that makes him a fun character, because you see him try stuff, and he has motivations, and you kind of go with him, but if you take Finn, for example, it's like, he has the basis of such a good character as like the ex-stormtrooper, and they kind of do it like, oh, is he gonna run away all his life, kind of thing, but then he just turns into, I don't know, one of the anime gang, and they're just like, yeah, main character, you can do this, we're friends, and it's just it just feels like one of the, you know, like Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, you have Yugi doing the battles, and all his friends are just there like, yeah, cards.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with
No, it's
Avatar: The
just
Last Airbender.
that one was better than all of that. No, I don't know. But I think that, again, to me, this movie, like Last Jedi, broke my suspension of disbelief. The whole, the bullshit with I'm just gonna light speed through this Star Destroyer or whatever.
But that's just the 1 in a million shot.
Yeah, well, that kind of shit broke me to the point that like all the little mistakes that I do want to point out because you gotta get it out, but like in this movie, it didn't. I was like, all right, it's already been. My suspension is already broken. So my major nitpicky beef I had was with the radar thing.
Yeah.
First of all, they attack the ground radar. The guys flip the button and they're like, oh, we're gonna do the top now. So they go to the top. They could have just flipped to bottom again and then we can go to moderator again.
Before they.
And that would be really stupid because they'd be like up, down, oh, we could just keep flipping his bottom. And I guess that would be stupid, so they just ignore that. Also, everyone's on this Star Destroyer without any equipment. All the Star Destroyer had to do was go like, whoop, out of the atmosphere. Everyone dies and just go back down. And usually, you know, it's Star Wars. It's not science fiction. It's fantasy, damn it. But I don't know. That stuff started bothering me after The Last Jedi with the light speed thing. And I guess my major disappointment has always been the First Order in general. Because they're just so annoying. Like the council of Nazi-looking guys. They're always complaining whenever they're on screen. They're always complaining. They're always going against Kylo. And I thought that problem was fixed. I'm just ranting now at this point. But I thought it was fixed in The Last Jedi when they were like, you're not Supreme Leader, fuck you, Kylo. And now he's the Supreme Leader. And they're still giving him shit. And not just the guy who were like, I'm a spy because I hate Kylo. Okay, I'll buy that. But the rest of them were giving him shit too. And it's like, what is up with these guys? They're just like a council of whiny little bitches. And
Well, I think the idea is that the good guys will win because they're kind to each other. They stand for each other.
They work together with each other, understand each other.
Yeah, and the bad guys will lose because they're divided and disorganized and all of that. But I just got to say, my take on this whole thing, this Star Wars, best Star Wars ever.
Oh. I actually wasn't expecting you to say
I'm
that.
not taking the bait, but go on.
All right, no, it's not the best Star Wars ever, but it is. It's better than the last one, but there's something here that I really, really liked about this film. I mean, really, really liked, and I haven't felt this since the original trilogy. There's a desperation in the editing and the directing of, oh my fucking god, I don't think this is going to work, but let's give it a go. I felt that through the entire film. Whether they actually pulled it off or not, I like to see them struggle with it. And for me, that was where the movie kind of made itself. It wasn't in the campy dialogue because, you know, how many of us have laughed at that? Well, I wanted to go to Tashi Station to be with my friends. Line from A New Hope. I mean, the lines have been ridiculous from the. Do you want another one?
5 more minutes, I suppose.
Do you want or do you not want? Do you want or do you not want? Okay, so let's get a couple more beers. Okay.
Yeah, they tried a lot. They did their best to try to make all the scenarios work.
Yeah, but I mean, people are saying that there's 3 movies worth of material here. This should have been its own trilogy. I'm thinking that maybe J.J. Abrams had his own idea of what the trilogy should be. He put it out there and it got tossed aside. So he then just repackaged all that stuff into this film and basically ignored The Last Jedi. If you think about it, The Last Jedi, it took everything from the first film, threw it away, added nothing, and ended its story in a place where you really didn't need to continue it. And the fight goes on. It was kind of the final thing. There were no open questions. There was everything was kind of answered or ignored, or destroyed to the point where there was nothing left to do with it. Supreme Leader Snoke. Snoke. Well, anyway.
Star Wars names are kind of stupid. You gotta roll with it.
So once he was dead, that kind of fucked everything. And But I understand. So what I understand is that Ryan Johnson's film, as nonsensical as it was, as much as it, that one's mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
As nonsensical as it was, as dumb as it was, Ryan Johnson's opinion on Star Wars was exactly correct. And this is the problem that I have with this film, Rise of Skywalker. Although I love the desperation in the eyes of the actors, the director and editor, especially the writers. I mean, they sweated bullets. You can see it on the screen. And the hyper skipping, whatever that was called, is the perfect metaphor for what this film actually is. And I thought they were like setting up the pace of the story with that whole little bit. And I thought it was actually kind of clever. But this film was excellent in all of its story plots, its MacGuffins, its series of events leading up to a big crescendo. It was excellent in all of that. Its reveals were good, its friendships were good. But none of it is earned. And that's the problem. None of it is earned because you're not doing your own thing. You're playing in somebody else's sandbox. That's not your place. And so any Star Wars that you make from here on needs to be something other than anything to do with this. No more lightsabers, no more 0.5 past light speed in a piece of junk. None of that stuff. But once you remove all of that, what do you have? The Mandalorian is now kind of testing that ground.
Yeah.
But
I feel like they had that chance, but they just refused to take it. No one needs the Death Star and the X-Wing, Luke's X-Wing, and the Falcon, and Chewie, and Orlando. It's like,
but that's my point. Yeah, you don't need to.
Orlando was there, right?
Yeah.
Orlando?
What is
Or
Oh,
Lando. Or Lando.
Oh, Orlando.
I was like, who's Orlando?
Anyway, basically,
For the record, I had a brain fart and I did thought he was called Orlando for a second.
once you go to that place, and once you are there in that sandbox without any of those toys, it is no longer Star Wars. And that's my point. If you really want to see something great, then never watch another Star Wars property again. Leave it all go. Anything beyond Episode 6 is going to be disappointment because it simply retreads the same ground. Episodes 1, 2, and 3, I excuse because even though they're bad, he was trying to do something new, something unique. And that's the thing about Episode 7 and Episode 8. They made me really appreciate Episodes 1, 2, and 3, simply for that fact. Shitty acting, shitty dialogue, a couple of plot details that just don't make sense on the face of them, even 20 years later. But I appreciate his vision, especially after looking at all this shit. So, there it is. It would be great if it were not Star Wars. And that's the problem. That's the problem with the fandom. That's the problem with this universe that they're playing in. That's the problem with Disney Star Wars.
I feel like Disney Star Wars never really got Star Wars. It feels like a like one of those movies where like a robot AI has been really trying to reconstruct like humanity, and like a real human comes into this society and they're like something's off, and at the end it's like, oh, a robot made all this and he did everything like exactly the way it's in the databases, but there's just that little human soul spark missing. And this just feels like an AI tried to rewrite the first trilogy. Though I must say, especially in this movie, I feel like they came close to me to the essence of old Star Wars. Like the whole point of Star Wars to me has been always around the Force and that mysticism and that like good versus evil and like temptation, and you can take all those themes, but you don't have to, like the same thing with Rey. You can have the temptation thing. You don't literally have to do the Luke Skywalker thing where like she sees herself as a Sith virgin. That's been done. You can do another take on it. You don't have to go to exactly the same paces, like have the exact same cave, have the same like he fights himself kind of moment. That's been done. You can do that from another angle, and they don't do anything from another angle. They just take like another Death Star, it's just another Luke Skywalker, another Death Star, another Darth Vader. Even Kylo's redemption arc is kind of like mimicking Darth Vader's redemption arc.
The way I see it, the reason why we have Star Wars is because George Lucas wanted to remake Flash Gordon, and the copyright holder told him to get fucked. And because he was told to get fucked, he decided to make his own version of Flash Gordon. So that's what we got. And then the copyright holder of Flash Gordon saw Star Wars and said, "Oh shit," and made Flash Gordon in 1980 with the Queen soundtrack, Sam J. Jones.
Never seen it. Sure.
Oh fuck, man, movie night. That's some over the top shit. You've gotta watch. You've seen it, right?
The old Flash Gordon?
Well,
I thought I was a big fan of it.
Not the old one, but like the.
Oh, I do know the Queen song though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I just I have seen multiple in my lifetime. So.
All right, we're gonna have to do a Flash Gordon night or movie night. But
good.
But man, basically that's the thing. It is the fuck up of copying
Too much.
that makes original works so good. And that's what Star Wars was. The whole episodes thing goes back to the serials, and I think actually to the serialized version of Flash Gordon.
You make a good point on that because recently I've been looking back over one of my favorite animations, which is Record of Lotus War, and that originally was a person's D&D game. They were playing Dungeons and Dragons. The original characters were like friends, and they liked the story so much they were putting it up online, and people were like, "Yo, you should keep going. You should develop the land more. You should do more things with this." And then they created their own story from it. So you make a point.
But exactly that thing. So it would be better if they would not actually make a Star Wars, but if they were to make
I think they.
Space Laser Wars instead.
I think the term "make a Star Wars" has been deformed by this movie franchise. This movie is wearing. Sorry to be grotesque about it, but this movie basically dug up Star Wars' corpse and goes around wearing its skin. It's not necessary. You don't need Death Star. You don't need all these fucking callbacks. It's just too many.
Well, see, that I think you said it right originally when you said it's just fan fiction. It is just fan fiction at this point, because that's all they'll ever be able to be.
But I don't feel. I feel like I do see glimmers of stuff it could be, but it feels like it's just not. It doesn't trust either itself or the fans. It's like it doesn't trust the fans to go buy tickets if there's no Millennium Falcon, and it doesn't trust itself to do like writing that's not the original plot copy paste.
Well, if you buy something for $4.5 billion with a B, you're going to expect some performance out of that. You need to track it on a mark sheet. And once you get down to number crunching, then you're kind of stuck with, okay, either I make this work, or I go fuck myself with a katana. And basically, you're right. it is kind of the coward's way, but it's a coward's business.
This brings me up to one of my main beefs. What I kind of wanted to hear you guys' opinions about Lando in general. What do you guys think?
In
Lando
what way?
in this movie.
Oh, in this movie? Oh, he was there. What was left of him anyway? I mean, that was about it.
That's a good way to put it. That, I don't know why, but it just rubbed me the wrong way completely. The way that it felt like, it didn't feel like Lando to me. It felt like, I don't know what his name is in real life, but it felt like the actor.
Billy Crystal.
You meet him at a...
Whoa. All right. Whoa. Billy Crystal is a comedian.
Yeah.
Billy D.
Billy D. Williams, sorry.
Okay.
Damn. I just felt like it's not Lando, it's the guy who played Lando when you meet him at like Comic-Con or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's me, I was in Star Wars. And just like one of the lines he had was like, oh, remember when me and Luke and Han, we used to do all that shit? I'm like, you didn't do anything in that. You weren't like main cast in original Star Wars.
Well, I think that because there are only like 4 black people in the universe, and apparently, with this film we've just met the last one.
And just like in Jesus Christ Superstar, Lando was the Judas character, basically, like the one black guy is a betrayer, and. Yeah, I'm sure Disney wants to whitewash everything, but
So Judas being a black man was not incorrect. Jesus being white was incorrect.
I just watching this movie. By the way, I first time realized how much the Jedi Master outfit is just basically Jesus. Like when Luke is there in his like ghost form, it's just like, wow, this is how America sees Jesus, like, the white brown robes with the hair and the beard.
Well, there is a guy on the internet who has this meme about Space Jeebus. Space Jeebus.
Yeah, I'm just surprised it took me this long to realize, but. I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way. That's why I just wanted to know what you guys thought about it. The whole like, oh, I was a perfectly acceptable character in the first movies, right, guys? I was part of the main crew in the first movies, right, guys?
I mean, you're just Winstoning him now.
Yeah.
What's Winstoning?
So Ghostbusters had 3 white guys who were a fine team until they felt, oh, we need another guy. And just hired some guy who's like, whatever, if there's a paycheck, I'm in. And is the black guy. It's like the token black guy character. And that's what Lando was. So he's like the only black person in the galaxy. And now we've got 4.
Yeah, but they could have made him a character because they had Han Solo setting him up.
But in the original trilogy, he was a character, I should say, for Lando's duology, but he was a character. He had a lot of interesting character arc for the half film that he had in Empire Strikes Back. He was the guy who was smooth and he was all about his business, and then he betrayed Han on the dime, and then when shit got too weird, he was like, oh, I fucked up, and he switched back. That's right. And that. You can see the logic flow in very, very clearly. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people like about Empire Strikes Back. There's a logic flow to a lot of the shit. It's not just like intuitive, jumping from thing to thing, like this movie was. This film, everybody represents a certain thing. Like the woman, the black woman that they met on the moon of Endor, which apparently is not the moon where the Ewoks were. It was a different moon.
It was a different moon.
So the Ewoks were fine, but this other moon got
You're outlawing me there, yeah, sure.
Well, the 4th moon of Endor was where the is it the 4th moon? Or is it 4th moon of Yavin?
No. Yavin. Endor is the 4th moon of Yavin, I believe.
Blew up the planet.
Anyway, so basically that woman represented family. That kin, sorry, what's his name? Finn found his people.
Oh, they kind of glossed over that, didn't they?
No. Right, look, he's black, she's black. He's an ex-stormtrooper, she's an ex-stormtrooper. They both have the same story.
They work together on screen for like 20 seconds.
Endor itself is a planet. The moon of Endor is where the Ewoks are.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So it was a moon of Endor that it fell onto, but
not where the Ewoks apparently were.
yeah, and so we got a shot of this Ewoks like singing "Nup Nup" in this forest, and I was like, wait a minute, where did the Death Star crash?
Well, that's the point where Disney was like, not everything is going to get a reference, damn it.
If you're gonna reference it, fucking reference it.
Let the past die. Except for everything else we're cramming into the movie.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of just going over like old shit that they're putting in there? What do you guys think of the Palp coming back?
Of Palps? It was the plan all along.
Yeah,
J.J. Abrams said so.
he made Snoke. Don't you know?
Yeah.
That's not stupid.
Well,
I mean, it did have that look of him, so.
you know those old films back in the day, the black and white films where the evil guy talks about his evil plans, and then as soon as he laughs, it's like Vincent Price or some shit. Some lightning goes off in the background, and he just like lights up his face in a real dramatic way.
And it's like, I am here.
Yeah, about the talking about his plans bit though. There was I don't really remember The Last Jedi, but there was a part with Snoke where Snoke was like, now are you gonna do this? And in this one, Palpatine was like, now are you gonna do this? Was that a callback or was that just sloppy writing?
Sloppy writing. J.J. Abrams is really great at nostalgia picking, but he's not very good at dialogue, not very good at story, really bad at ending things. Those are all of his weaknesses. And in this one, I would say he did pretty good for what he was given, but his weaknesses are still there. He's also indecisive as fuck, apparently, because he just put too much in this. What was the point?
So by the way, the Last Jedi was not Abrams.
No, it wasn't. It was Ryan Johnson.
Okay. That explains why this movie is like a fucking back and forth problem.
Well, look, Ryan Johnson basically said to J.J. Abrams and the whole idea of Star Wars is get fucked and make something new.
Yeah.
And J.J. Abrams, with this film, was back at Ryan Johnson like, get fucked. This is the story that we should have done.
You know,
anyway.
she is a Skywalker, and Snoke has meaning. It's like, geez.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that really rubbed me the wrong way.
It's like watching your parents go through divorces.
I mean, looking at that last scene, the very last scene of the film, before the credits roll, where she declares herself a Skywalker. That fucked me up. That's the thing that killed this movie for me. I was fine until then. It was like, you have not earned that. That is not you. You are Palpatine.
I knew there was something coming. I mean, from the title of the movie, I felt like it was insinuated. I felt like they did like a little 1-2 where like it's called Rise of the Skywalker, and then they hint that she's something, and then the big twist was Palpatine, and then they twisted back into Skywalker. But I feel like these kind of movies, if you reach a point where you're somewhat satisfied, you just press the stop button, and that's what canon ends. Because they always do this. They always do this extra little thingy. I was waiting for like the Marvel moment where they're like, either they're gonna set up a new movie or they're gonna do something. And he was like, I'm a Skywalker, and at that point I already pressed stop, and I was like, all right, this part is like
whatever.
I walked out mentally.
I was kind of hoping that she was like, you know who you are now, you're going to embrace it, but now, okay, a little while.
I was just annoyed personally, like very nitpicky again. I was just annoyed that they had to put like the Jawa. I don't know what it's called.
The
it's just like they couldn't fit it in the movie. They were just like, and this was also in the movie. It's like, all right, I think you recycled everything. Maybe make another movie. If you didn't, just make it.
Yeah. So now that this thing is over,
Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna end with this, but if it was gonna be new movie, my joke was gonna be that like the next villain reveal should be Greedo.
he didn't die. He actually
I didn't die.
was all half burned up and shit.
You didn't shot first. Wink, wink, meta, meta.
So, is that it? Is that your take on Star Wars?
Oh, basically.
Rise of Skywalker?
I don't know.
Anything to add, man?
Oh my God! Yes, we can. I didn't hit on this. The moment the movie started, I was upset
But yeah.
because the first line
The
in
dead-
the description.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to hear what that was about.
The dead do speak! Exclamation point. Excuse me, what the fuck is that doing there?
Yeah. What the fuck? Hey, surprise!
Who passed that fucking exclamation point there? You've had 8 movies, never once have I seen them pull that shit.
And it's also matter of fact and kind of, okay, this is what's going on, we're catching you up a little bit, but none of this kind of like, hey, what do you know? The Emperor's back. We're going to tuck it. And actually, I was kind of, in the beginning of the film, looking at, like, the first 10 minutes, we didn't actually need, we could have chopped all of that shit out and had them start a little bit in to where they were, maybe where Ray was training or some of the other shit before it needed actually to start. And we didn't need to have the Kroll introduce the Emperor, because the Emperor was introduced because Kylo Ren was searching like a madman in the first 10 minutes of the film. They could have put that in and had him walk up, and then boom, he finds the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, I've been calling all this time.
This is very personal, but
Are you sure you want to share it here, man?
oh no, I mean,
Hey,
no, I mean
coming
like
out?
I'm coming out about my Disney Star Wars opinions.
hey,
For me, like I said, I was already done with Disney bullshit at this point, so I felt like front loading the whole Emperor is the big twist. I'm like, okay, thanks. I'll just roll with it now, you know. If it was like a dramatic camera reveal, I would have been like, ugh. But just the fact that they were like, by the way, before you watch this movie, the big twist is the Emperor. I'm like, okay, thanks.
see,
Yeah.
I wasn't on that boat. I thought that the big twist was going to be reverse roles.
What do you mean reverse roles? She becomes
A Sith, and he becomes an actual
Yeah, that
like,
was a
Jedi.
fan
That's
theory,
what I
yeah.
was going. That's what I was waiting for.
I would have enjoyed something like that. I would have enjoyed.
That would have
the
been
fact-
cool, too cool though.
I would have enjoyed the idea of her being a series of clones and actually having a dark ray kind of come out and battle a little something.
Right.
You're hearing this, Disney?
that they were all clones, and they're actually like, you know, a couple hundred of her.
Just give us anything, really.
The only thing is, none of them had the Force, but for whatever reason Ray did, and that's her edge. That would have been great.
That would have been
All of that
fine.
shit, but none of it. It was all just kind of like you said, like filmed in a box. It was also written in a box, very clearly.
Very clearly. Yeah, that was just really depressing on that matter because they both showed up. They're both there. They're both on the side of light in this case, and I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. But how cool would it have been if suddenly Ben is there reverse roles fighting Rey?
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I told you the next time I would extend my hand, you would take it.
Yeah.
Like, that would have, like, they go, and then they join together, and then they go against him, and then all that stuff happens later. Could you, like, just for a second, imagine that? That would have been amazing, like, 5 minutes of lightsabering. I'd be
Yeah.
happy.
So basically, to sum up, and this, I'm going to try and capstone it here, but we watched J.J. Abrams take a nervous shit on a toilet. That's basically it.
Just stop the recording there, I guess.
Some things hit, some things sploosh, some things go
Oh yeah,
inside.
no, just one more thing I wanted to add.
Yeah,
is,
go ahead.
The 10-second movie version of this. To me, it was just Rey and Kylo saying "Give it to me" and then smooching, and that should be the 10-second version to me.
Yeah, right. All right. So just that you're all about the kiss. That's you.
Yeah, because you gotta find an angle to enjoy these things, and to me, Kylo has been like my rock in these movies.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I came to see him still.
It's tossed on the cliff, man. I mean, look at it. It was good. It was entertaining.
So
The second half was.
are you guys down for whatever comes next?
I was going to watch Mandalorian.
You haven't watched Mandalorian?
I want to be done with Star Wars, but I've heard good stuff. Mandalorian, like I said, the Lone Wolf and Cub pitch really made me want to watch it. So I might do it to myself and then give it. See what that's all about.
The one thing I would say, it's short and there's not a lot of bullshit for each episode, unless the episode itself is bullshit.
Like stuff that there's not a lot of talking in it. Just makes me want to try it out because.
I mean, if you want more BS, then Rebels was interesting.
What's Rebels though? Is it a movie?
It's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon series. It's like how they did the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars was
It's all
very
right.
good apparently.
Yeah, the Clone Wars is good, and Rebels is the one with Ahsoka Tano comes back.
Returns
in
back.
that. Yeah. I always dug her. She was actually my favorite character of all of that.
I liked her, dude. I liked how she was the apprentice that rose and then kind of broke off.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was an interesting arc for her. And in that one, she comes back and she's like, I am not a Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot do this fight. I cannot be in this.
Is that the Twi'lek girl or?
No, she's got the end up with the Anyway, man, what the fuck was that last lightsaber in that film? She buries the two lightsabers and she goes like, she's like swip, and this white lightsaber comes out.
Oh, you mean the orange? It was orange.
Was it orange?
I was yellow or.
Yeah, it looked it looked beige.
It was
to me.
it was a confusing
No,
color. That's
yeah,
the real
It's
name.
orange. I forget what it means. Orange. If you ever do the online test for your Jedi balance,
Yeah.
orange is my lightsaber.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically you're the Rey of our group.
Maybe. But they're like the.
Just pick a red and be done with it.
Yeah, right.
But there's like balances of Jedi's, right?
Yeah.
And like you have like white lightsabers, blue lightsabers, green, and it's supposed to be like your. Not just like your balance in the Force, but also like your skill and your with the lightsaber as well.
So basically it's your belt. But what is the meaning of it?
That's what I forget. Because I saw the orange and I was like, oh right, that should match your character because the Force healing and
And if we're gonna beat this dead horse some more, what was up with the Leela is a Jedi subplot that went absolutely nowhere?
Leela is a Jedi.
Leia.
Yeah,
God
sorry.
damn it.
Yeah, I know.
See, now you're on my side a bit more with the whole Leia, right?
Yeah, all right. So, Leia, go ahead, man.
Compassion, I can't say it too right.
Okay. Compassion, diplomacy, and full allegiance to the light side of the Force.
That does sound like you.
That's me. I don't know if it sounds like Rey.
But it's kind of like a horoscope thing where it kind of sounds like everyone, I suppose.
Yeah. The original plan was that they have one person per film kind of do their thing. Han was in the first film, Luke was in the second film, and Leia was supposed to be in the third film. She died after the second film, so they got nothing. But she was supposed to train Rey a bit. And they kind of finagled their way through it. But
That training sequence was so.
well, all of the dialogue with Leia was kind of weird and choppy, and you could see them trying to like fit dialogue around whatever they had, and that was just bizarre to watch. Where they just like give all the information in the question, and then she's like, no. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they're trying to do and everything, but that last shot of just like the empty blankets disappearing because like
Yeah, she being a Force ghost.
they're not even gonna bother putting her in there. It's like the blankets are already empty when the camera cuts to it because it's just easier that way. And it's like, oh, all right.
And on the whole Leia thing as well, how did you feel about the end with Chewbacca?
Oh, when he fell down and cried?
No. The end with Chewbacca.
What did he get again? Because
He got a medal. Because if you remember from the original Star Wars...
Yeah, that was the fan service, like over-the-top fan service. All right, in the original Star Wars, we're talking 1977, Episode 4.
He doesn't get one.
He doesn't get a medal.
He doesn't get a
goes
medal.
to Han, it goes to Luke, and that's it. And then, she's like, "Here, this is for you."
sure.
That was like...
Not as fan service.
But that's the fan service that got me. It's like, okay, yeah, cool, I like that. But it's something that should have happened in Return of the Jedi, and it's also something that should have been done by Lucas, not by these fuckheads. Anyway, we're like an hour now. Are we good?
Yeah, we could.
Do we have any more?
The rest is not going to be interesting to listen to. So.
Squeeze out one last little fart of opinion.
If you're on the fence, maybe go watch it. I don't know.
If you're on the I think watch it. I think watch it, see it, and then afterwards, if you liked it, then you can watch it again. But if you don't like it, then that's it. This is it. You cap it and say you're done.
That's me. All right.
It's a good end point.